Hey, what's up? So in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing my first ever rank 5 7-star champion. That is none other than Hulkling. So Hulkling's one of those champs that I don't ever see him losing any of his prowess. I think he's always going to be a good champion. There already is counters to him on defense, and he's still a great defender. On attack, his loop is so easy to do. You just hit into the block, 5-hit combo, special 2, you have your damage for a couple combos, and then you just repeat that. It's so easy. There's like hardly any ramping up. The damage is easy to come by, and he has great utility. So we're gonna go ahead, bring him into Realm of Legends first. The only problem about Realm of Legends is the AI is so passive that it's really hard to get certain combos in. But with Hulkling, that's not as much of an issue because you'll see why. He goes unblockable real easy, so it's really easy to hit into the AI. See, we're already unblockable. And we kind of just want to keep building up to the SP2 as quick as possible. And then once we get close, we want to start stacking up multiple different buffs, because the more buffs you have, the more damage you do. So in a perfect world, I would have got hit once. I would have got a regen. But I'm not trying to maximize it that much. And then here we go. We launch an SP2. We don't get a crit, which is still fine. Look at the combos that we're doing now. That was 18k for a light. This was probably a 40-second fight, and there were some things I did wrong there. Yeah, almost a 40-second exact fight, and I didn't even get to fully utilize my damage at the end there. I got the Furies up, basically did one combo, and he was dead. You can fit in about 2 to 3 full combos and a relic with those Furies up if your AI or if your opponent is really aggressive and the AI is really aggressive. That being said, sometimes that doesn't happen like we just showed, and we only could get in one combo. With that combo, you could probably stretch his health pool out to 650, maybe even 700, and by the time you run out of your Furies, you're back into a special 2, and you're ready to launch more Furies. See, right there, that doesn't really matter because the regen is almost like 1-to-1. If you have debuffs on you and you can willpower, your regen is basically 1-to-1. That's another great part of his utility. You can get hit a lot and you can still survive. So his survivability is amazing. But we're going to go ahead and launch an SP2 here. Still no crits. Some of our buffs are falling off, so you can see the damage is a little lesser. But just hitting into the block, we're doing almost 15k. I get hit there, which kind of sucks, but that's 30k crits on mediums, or non-crits on mediums. 36 seconds. So there's a lot to unpack there. Let's go ahead and we'll kind of talk about his abilities. Most of you kind of know his abilities, but for the few that don't and are questioning a Hulkling rank 5, we'll go ahead and talk about it. That's the relic champion info. So first off, his awakening is super nice. It is really wanted. You really want the awakening because it's really only good for this Fury buff duration. You can increase it by 3 seconds flat. That on top of the relic, which I have at rank 3 right now. I believe I can rank her up again, so I will do that. I won't do it right now, but you get a plus 8%. This will probably be plus 9% once I rank it up. So you get like 3.5 seconds, give or take, of extra Fury that you would get. I don't know off the top of my head how long they last for 10 seconds. So instead of 10 seconds, you get about 13.5 to maybe 14 seconds. That's great. That's enough for 3 combos and a relic. And you were seeing there, even without all my buffs active, I was doing 20k mediums, and that's kind of just how it goes the rest of the fight. Once you ramp up once and get that special 2 once, you build enough power to almost get back to another special 2 real quickly, and you just keep going, so on and so forth. And the great thing about him is his unblockable. When he hits, you have to get 5 pierce. Just by hitting the block, you get a pierce. you go unblockable. So defenders that are really passive, it is really, really easy to build power. Also, another thing that I want to showcase here, he can do a lot of fights to where he doesn't ever have to hit the opponent. I don't have the TCP map, so I can't really show you. So I'll just show you right here, and then I'll go, practice, and then we'll go in with Hulkling. I just kind of want to show you what you can do. Of course, it's going to be a bigger health pool in Battlegrounds or AW or something, but let's assume that you have a hazard chip node on this onslaught, and every time you hit him, you get a bleed. Well, what you can do is you can just hit into block and do perfectly fine damage. The fight is going to be really slow, but you're still able to do that damage. See, right here, I'm doing, that was like 40k worth of damage in a combo, and that's just hitting into block. And if I wanted to get a little risky, you could hit him a couple times, but the way I do it on those hazard shift nodes is I just wait till I have my unblockable, I launch an SP2, and I just tank that debuff damage. Which there I got hit by a regen. And you also can see your building power. It's pretty easy to build power. And then of course he throws an SP1. This is kind of just showcasing what you can do if you're not supposed to hit the opponent. I used to use Hulkling all the time on Path 9, where it was a hazard shift node galore, which he does have 2 great immunities, which I didn't get to talk about. He has immunity to all poisons and shocks. Those are 2 amazing immunities. Poisons are everywhere. It seems like everybody has poison anymore. And shocks are really great immunity. Another great thing about this is he gets one of his shapeshift charge when he does prevent an effect. So a shapeshift charge is basically what gives you the power to earn a buff. So if you have 1 shapeshift charge, you hit in a block, you get a bolt or you get a pierce. If you have 0, you hit in a block, you get nothing. So you want to make sure you have your shapeshift charge active. I believe there's 8. You start with 3 and you have 8. So on champions that poison you or shock you, he's a really, really great attacker. So we'll go ahead. We're going to go into... Well, I don't know how I can get off this screen. Okay, that was random. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and go into the... Where's that? Labyrinth of Legends. And I'm just going to play with him just like this. And I kind of want to showcase, he's not the greatest long-form content there is. I'm kind of going to fight for around a minute, maybe a minute and a half, and kind of show you how much damage he can do. Because this is not where he is strong and just straight up just long-form content. He can do long-form content perfectly fine, but he just has a utility and stuff like the Epoch Gauntlet. That is semi-long-form content, but he did a bunch of fights there because he had a bunch of immunities, he has really great utility, and he has really great access to certain abilities. So, this is 3.3 million health. I'll fight him for a minute, and then we'll quit out and see how much health or damage we've done to kind of showcase how much damage he can do. So there's not really a set way to play Hulkling. I always like starting with a heavy just to get my Pierce buffs active. So I'm always doing damage even if he is turtling up. That's kind of how I've always played him. That could be completely wrong, but that's kind of how I've played him. That's the great thing about Hulkling is you can kind of play him however you want and get good results because he's so easy to access the damage like I've said. Now I need him to kind of dash back and turtle up. And I accidentally launched an SP3, so this is a very bad fight already. I didn't really get to talk about his SP3. Basically, all that does is it locks in one of your buffs, depending on how many you have of that buff. So I believe with that SP3, I either locked in a Pierce or a Altitude, so I will always have those up. So theoretically, an SP3 isn't bad to go for with Hulkling, but you usually kind of just want to go for an SP2 to get a bunch of damage. Also, his crits do like 80 to 90k. Of course, in Labyrinth of Legends, they have a 50k health cap, so you can't really do all that damage. But just there, I'm just going for one full SP2 rotation, and see, I almost have 2 full bars of power back. We'll go ahead and quit out here. I know I threw an SP3 that kind of threw everything off, but we'll just kind of showcase how much damage you can do in that full SP2 rotation. that is about 1,000,000 damage in a full SP2 rotation, give or take, because I did throw that SP3. If I didn't throw that SP3 there, I would have had another SP2 to keep chaining them because I was so close to a third bar power. That's kind of what I like to do. I like to get to like 2.9 bars of power, launch that SP2, get another one real quick. There is very few instances, but I've had it a couple times where I've gotten 4 Furies, and then your combos are like 50k. You're doing 50k lights. It's insane. But that doesn't really come very often because it's really hard to keep those Furies active. But that just kind of showcases his damage at a rank 5 level. 1,000,000 damage in one rotation is nothing to be upset about. That is great, great damage. So yeah, this has kind of been a shorter showcase. I really don't have any other way to showcase this champ. I could find some content to do, but story content, you all know Hulkling. I was just kind of showcasing the damage and what he is capable of. If I were to have that CCP testing map, which I really want to work towards, that's my goal this year. I want to get enough subs to be able to unlock that. I'd be able to show him in meta fights. But yeah, that's Hulkling. He's an animal. He's a nuke. He's nuts. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.